Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to a brand new league racing video. WOR round 10 Zandvoort. We got a round right this time. Round 10 around Zandvoort, and we are heading out for our first Q1 run. Zandvoort on the F1 Esports calendar, of course, and in the very next event as well. So that's gonna be interesting, a little test for us to see how we are around here, as preparations for F1 Esports at this time have just started. So this is a first test to see how we naturally pace-wise are around this track. Championship-wise, we are still quite far behind Lucas Blakely, as he's leading F1 Esports at the moment, but he's also leading WR, even though he has missed quite a few races. I think he's missed the last two, and he's missing this one again as well, as I think he's focusing on F1 Esports. I feel like league racing always helps me a little bit as preparation for F1 Esports, so I like to drive in those. Puts me in certain scenarios where you can't really practice for, so that's why we're doing this. Tomac goes P1 with a 110.2. Tomac, F1 Esports driver for Alfa Romeo F1 Esports team, so he will be flying around here as well, probably. As he might have done some preparation already. Now, starting our first Q1 run here. Trying to prepare that exit as much as possible. You can't go up too high in that banking to prepare your lap, because you start bottoming out a little bit. As you can hear there into turn 1, the floor is bottoming out a little bit. Of course, you're trying to run the car as low as possible, so you create as much downforce as possible with these cars. But you can't go too low, because then you start bottoming out, as you can hear into turn 1 for us. So you might be a little bit too low on the ride height, as Luke Smith goes P1 with a 110.2. True schijfvlak, this corner is called. One of my favorite corners out of any track. It's just such a cool feeling. I've driven here in F4, and it's so cool going through that corner. You can go on throttle really early, as you can hear Danny behind us smashing a door. But yeah, into the final sector now. A bit of a moment through there. As you usually get over that sausage curb, the car tends to hit the floor, and you tend to get a big moment there. Up to the line now. First Q1 lap is gonna be finished, and it's a 110.6, and it's 4 tenths off. And as you can see there, that's not good enough, and we're gonna have to go again. New set of tires, and on the second lap we are about to improve quite a lot. 2.7 tenths up, and that is P9, and we'll see us go through pretty easily into Q2. But yeah, still 2 tenths off P1 by the end of that Q1 session. As you can see there, Luke Smith P1 only did that on his first run. Same for Tomac. I think Alessio had to go for 2 runs maybe. But yeah, we've used 2 new sets of tires now. Tomac and Luke didn't, so that's not very much ideal. First new set of tire run here in Q2. We've already set a lap on a used set of tires from Q1, and we are P14 currently, but we're gonna improve right here. And again, not a great banker on our first new set of tires, and that means we have to go again on another new set, and it means only 1 new set remaining for Q3. So we are on the back foot heading into Q3, but it doesn't matter. We have to nail this one first to get into Q3 first, because that is our first target. Into turn 1, as you can see there, gain a bit of time on entry, a little bit on exit, and we 300s up as we head into the banked section. Now this one is crucial to get right, because it's a big exit coming up, and it's important to keep the minimum speed up. We're half a 10 up, heading towards sector 2. Schijfvlak coming up. Very hard corner to get right. Hard to get a front in on entry, and then usually you tend to get a snap of oversteer on the exit. We missed the apex of that fast right-hander, but we managed to nail the next section. Yellow flag for a car, I think, preparing his push lap. DRS open. Good exit, 1.5 tenths up to our previous lap. Ruben Pedreno goes P1 with a 109.9 through the next chicane. Again, always hard to get the traction down, and the same for the final corner exit. Easy to lose the backhand. Can't take too much curb on that outside, and now you need to keep low before you open the DRS to minimize distance driven, and it's P3, and that will see us through into Q3 there. As you can see there, Liam Parnell, Xander Van Dijk and Dylan Cardelluni and Drake Dempsey all out in Q2. Ruben Pedreno fastest in Q2, and Luke Smith right behind him. Luke Smith seems to be fast around here. Tomek P3, ourselves P4, Duncan Hofland, our fellow Dutchman in P5, Ismail Fassi P6, Max P7, Tom Henley P8, Alessio Di Capua P9, and Mirko in P10. Now into Q3. Of course, first we have to do a lap on a new set of tires, and that was a bit scruffy through the chicane. And towards the final corner now, this is not a super important lap because the new set of tires is where it's going to count a lot more. Some people have 2 new sets of tires, like Tomek, Ruben Pedreno, and I think Luke Smith. We only have 1. I think Tom Manley only has 1 as well. Why do I get a safety car token mid-quali? What are you on about? I don't give a shit about your tokens. As I'm having a little rant about earning a safety car token, I'm using a different account for F1 Esports compared to League Racing, simply because I have to. But now, this is the qualifying lap that counts. Very important to get up to the front around Zandvoort, because it's basically Monaco without walls. Through the first corner we go, almost 110 up, heading into turn 3 and 4, and we're only going to keep gaining time. Tire wear is just such a killer on Zandvoort because it's all so much mechanical grip corners. So if you lose a little bit of tire performance, it will affect your lap time a lot. Through Schijfvlak we go 2/10 up compared to our used tire run, and you can see we're just not gaining as much through the fast corners, but then we go towards the slower corners, and through the slower corners we just gain so much more. And that's the mechanical grip. A little bit of a moment on an exit, and that definitely cost us around 1/10 of a second. Into the chicane we had a little bit of a moment on our used tire run, and that means we're getting a lot of time through here on our new set of tires. Tomek Podatzis went provisional pole position with a 109.7, I think so. Luke Smith, who was one of the pole favorites, qualifying favorites out of the session, up to the line we go. It's gonna be a 109.824 behind Tomek Podatzis in P2. Ruben Pedreno still has to cross the line though, and does go faster with a 109.694. Absolute stonking lap from him. And we are going to be starting in P3. Luke Smith P7, as you can see there. And Duncan Hofland. So it's Duncan Hofland P4. It's a Dutch second row lockout. Ruben Pedreno, Tomek Podatzis in P1, 2. Mirko P5. And Tom Manley P6? I'm not sure. Anyway, onto the race we go. Everyone is going to be starting on the hards because you want to avoid cold, hard tires coming out of the pits. There might be some people betting on it, but I think a lot of people are going to be starting on the hards. The majority is going to be starting on the hards, so let's keep it that way. 5 red lights. And it's lights out for round 10 of WOR around Zandvoort. We get a pretty good start. So does Duncan Hofland on the inside. And you can see that Tomek squeezes Ruben Pedreno a little bit. And we see our opportunity into turn 3. We're going to have to give way. We get a little tap from behind, as I had to slow down a lot to keep ourselves from colliding with Ruben Pedreno. Duncan Hofland and Tom Henley go side by side towards Schijfvlak. I had to use a little bit of overtake there again to avoid getting in trouble there from the battle behind. So seems like apart from Ruben Pedreno and Tomek switching positions, Tom Manley had a good start as well. But no major incidents on this opening lap. Now, at the moment, I'm fine with P3. We just are going to sit back a little bit. Save tires in the next 3 laps, save ERS. Because, of course, high down for Shrek, it's pretty hard to regenerate ERS. So we need to be careful on that and save our tires a little bit in the process as well, so we can maybe do something later on in this stint. But for now, we cannot really overtake Ruben probably anyway, because we're both gonna have DRS, and that makes it really hard. On to lap 18. It's just been driving the train non-stop, but we're starting to lose a little bit of pace to Ruben and Tomek, so I don't know if our tire wear is worse or...
I was overheating.
If we're just slower, as you can hear me say, we're overheating there. But that's probably because we had to push really hard. So some people have made a pit stop already, the likes of Time and Shooter. And you can see that Tom Manley is struggling to stay in the DRS as well. So are we. We're just not fast enough at the moment. And our main aim is just to try and stay in the DRS. So we do a 1:13.1.
Time trial setup coming in clutch.
And Tom Manley is staying out. I think the Austin of Duncan Hoffland has gone into the pits. And now it's Tom Manley who's going to box on lap 19. We are staying out to try and stay in this DRS from Ruben Pedreno and Tomek Paratsis. But yeah, Tom Manley going for the undercut. So is Duncan Hoffland. But I'm not really that afraid of the undercuts, because if we're already struggling a little bit on the hards with tire wear and tire overheating, it's only going to get worse on the mediums. So I'm trying to get back in the DRS of Ruben Pedreno, as Tomek and Ruben clearly have a pace advantage at the moment, so they are pulling me along. So I'm happy to stay out on track as long as we can keep getting DRS advantage from them. You can see there we have dropped outside of that 1 second window, so that's very much not ideal. We're not going to get DRS on this middle straight, but I'm going to be pushing hard with my ERS to try and get back in that 1 second window. Through the next chicane we go. Tomek 1.5 ahead. We are 1.1 behind, and I think it's going to be very close for us of making DRS here. It's 1.0, and we have just about made the DRS. Ruben pit, so we're definitely not going to get DRS on the next lap. But we had a PB lap right there. So that shows that our hearts are performing still pretty well. They have not fallen off a cliff at least yet. And Ruben going for the undercut on Tomek ahead. So that's going to be interesting. Alessio behind us. Thomas Ronar, very fast in F1 Esports, 10 seconds behind us. I think he's trying to do a last to first challenge. But that's obviously not going to go well around Zandvoort. So Ruben Pedreno in P5, he did speed into the pit lane, so he has a 5 second penalty. So even if he does get the undercut, he is in big trouble with that 5 second penalty. And that's at least going to cost him the race win, because there's no way he's pulling a 5 second gap to Tomek, who's absolutely flying. You can see he's gained another 2/10 on this in lap to us. We're going to be boxing this lap because we need to minimize the undercuts the others are going to get. And I feel like the mediums are going to make it to the end pretty easily from here on. So into the box we go. Someone is retired on pit exit, but 60 kph is the speed limit. We're going to get purple on the pit stop. So that means 2.2 second pit stop, and out we go again for the second stint, fresh out of mediums. Thomas Ronar stays out, and Ruben Pedreno is obviously going to get past us here. Now the question is, where does Tom Manley and Duncan Hoffland come out? They have boxed 3-4 laps earlier than us, and we're going to come out right ahead of Duncan Hoffland, but we are of course on cold tires, so he's going to try and make a move here on us on those warm mediums. We're instantly going to turn on the overtake button to defend from Duncan into sector 2. But of course, Zandvoort is known for overheating issues, but it also means your tires heat up pretty fast. Luke Smith in P7 on hards, and that means he has started on the medium, so he has gone for an alternate strategy. And now we're trying to stay in the DRS of Tom Manley. Our tires should have warmed up by now, and we are going to get DRS. So just going to try and get DRS on the main straight again as well, so we can start regenerating our battery a little bit. Because yeah, we have absolutely drained our battery in the past few laps. to try and stay in the DRS from Ruben and Tomac. Now in the next few laps we're gonna see if we actually lacked pace compared to them, or if it was a tire where on the hards that were pretty bad. But last week in Barcelona we were pretty slow in the race as well, so not sure if it's just what it is. Lack of practice, of course. Our focus is F1 Esports, and I had not done a lot of Zandvoort practice ahead of this race yet, so I was focusing on other tracks and other scenarios before I went into Zandvoort practice. This was actually my first little bit of Zandvoort practice I'm doing this race, and as I said, I'm using league racing as a little bit of practice, you know. As Lucas is not driving, at the same time, every point we get, we gain to him as well. So if we get P5, we gain 10 points to him. And if we don't drive, then we gain 0. So it keeps us in the championship fight, and that's important to me. I don't care if we finish P4, P6 or P3. The aim is to win this championship, and that's why we're driving in it. And at the same time, maybe learn a thing or two, because if we are off the pace here on the race pace, that means we can learn something from it and see what went wrong. Now on to lap 24, you can see Tom Manley has lost touch to Ruben Pedreno, and that's not ideal. That probably means Ruben and Tomac are really fast and we are not. So we do a 1:12.3 there, and we are getting DRS. Tom is flashing and missed turn 1 a little bit, so now Ruben 1.7 seconds ahead of Tom Manley, and that's gonna make it very difficult. We have no ERS, same tires to Tomac, and we're basically never gonna close that gap unless Tom has some almighty pace here in the next few laps. But he has all the tires than both Ruben and Tomac, so that's gonna make it very hard, as Tom now makes a mistake as well, and that basically means the end of our chance of a win. We can try and stay in the 5-second window of Ruben, but this basically means that Tomac has the win in the back, because even if Ruben does get ahead of him, Ruben has that 5-second penalty, of course. So the maximum we can get from here on is P2, unless something happens to Tomac.
Yeah,
or
we can forget to win now.
As you can hear me say there, we can forget to win, because there's no way regaining that back. And we've also lost a lot of time to Ruben, 1 second on the last lap actually, but I kind of gave up on that as well. So you can see there, Ruben, a 6-second gap, but we've got 100% battery and DRS, and we're gonna go for the move now into turn 1 on Tom Manley. We've got fresher tires, and into P3 we go. Now, can we close the gap to Ruben Pedreno in the next few laps? Of course, they have a pace advantage, but we've got a lot of battery left, and maybe we can do something. Tomac pretty much has to win in his back, as I said, with 2 laps to go. Now, we need to try and stay ahead of Tom first, which is not going to be easy, because he's going to get DRS now on the main straight and also in the middle sector, so he's going to be all over us on this last lap. And you can see we just can't carry the speed others do, so we've probably messed something up in our setup, which is good that we have figured it out now, instead of during F1 Esports. So yeah, something to take from this. We're still losing time to Ruben. You can see backhand wants to step out at every opportunity it gets, but now we're gonna have to defend from Tom Manley. We're definitely not gonna get P2 because we've lost time to Ruben Pedreno, even though we used a lot of our battery on the lap. Now, can we defend from Tom Manley? He's gonna get DRS into turn 1. We're gonna have to go defensive here to avoid him sending it down the inside. We've got the upper hand and we squeeze ahead into P3. We've managed to fend off Tom Manley there, but he's gonna get DRS once more in the middle sector. Now, we have been struggling in the middle sector for grip, so we are not completely clear yet, as Duncan is trying to have a little look down the inside of Tom Manley. Duncan has a 5-second penalty as well from speeding in the pit lane, so he's probably just trying to lose as little time as possible. Now, this is where we're gonna have one last problematic defensive attribute. I've got no idea what I'm saying, it's very late. But we're gonna be clear into the chicane once more. And that was the last attack Tom Manley put on us. And now we're gonna come home in P3 once again. I think we finished P3 last race as well. So we're raking in the points, not the wins, which is a shame. We haven't won a league race in a very, very long time, as Duncan was trying to have a little look down the inside of Tom Manley there on the straight. But yeah, it's been a very long time since we won a league race. And we need to get back to it. We were 7.7 seconds off the lead. Clearly, we didn't have the race pace there, also not the qualifying pace. I think I did really well in qualifying. The balance of the car was not right there, both in qualifying and the race. So we've got work to do ahead of F1 Esports. Next F1 Esports event is Zandvoort, Austria, and Spa. I really like those tracks, so we're going to try and do well there. You can see there Luke Smith, P5. He was one of the fastest out there on track as well. Next week, Jeddah. We're going to try and close the gap to Lucas once more there. But for now, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe for more League Racing content, and see you guys next time. Ciao.